What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are getting deep, very in-depthly into 7 of the most exciting communities / projects going on to me right now in our entire metro area, Sarasota, Manatee County included. I've been painstakingly pouring into every possible piece and snippet of information that I could find, and I'm here to give you the nitty-gritty detail and possibly information that you have not found anywhere else at this point, to make you the smartest consumer possible. So if you're looking at moving now, you're thinking about investing, or you just like watching this lovely area grow and explode, then stick around, because this will be a bomb of information over the next 15, 20-ish plus minutes. I also have, if you enjoy it, I have some resources that could enhance that experience, but I'm not going to mention them here. I'll talk about them in a couple of minutes so we can get right into the video. If we've not met, my name is Adam Hancock. This is the Florida Relocation Guide, your smartest way to buy, sell, and or invest across especially the Southwest Florida part of the state. Without further ado, let's hop in. All right, project number 1 on my list is an exciting one particularly, and that is the southeastern expansion of the master plan suburb of Lakewood Ranch, Florida. One of the biggest things they have done in their already really climatic history, 4,100 plus acres they're adding from basically Lorraine Road over to University down to Fruitville, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more in a second. 5,000 new homes are supposed to be added from 2000, like move-in dates from 2027 forward. They're going to break ground this year is the estimate. 7 new villages is what Lakewood Ranch calls their neighborhoods. So this is going to bring the total, if you count 1995 stuff that's already sold out, count actively selling, and everything coming soon, everything we have data for, 41 to 46 plus, depending on who you ask, total communities right now in and planned for Lakewood Ranch. So you have a city of sorts. You can't even really call it a suburb, I don't think, anymore. Over 20 of those are actively selling right now. You can walk in and buy or build a house. This just adds another really interesting layer to something that's already incredibly interesting. This part is in that Sarasota County portion near the water, parallel to water side. So this is what people, if you have all of Lakewood Ranch, but you're also one of the closer things to town, central Sarasota, downtown, it's just value on top of value on top of value. Builders in here, you're going to see the same old players. You're going to see Pulte, Taylor Morrison, you're going to see Neal, Toll Brothers, and Friends. So we've seen this before, but going in this direction is something that I think is going to make a lot of people really pleased. Another really big thing that's coming along in the back of this project to account for the influx of people, and it's just much needed in general, the way that Lakewood Ranch already stands, is a $200 million plus budget for infrastructure improvement. They're proposing to take University Parkway to 4 lanes, which is going to help in general there. Another really interesting thing, which is going to help with a lot of the expansion east, is they're going to take Bourneside Road, which sits on opposite camera here, which sits basically parallel to Lorraine, and they're going to cut that down to Fruit, which is about a 5-mile strip. Fruitville is the port, the northern port to get to town. You cannot get there without doing one of these crossover streets. But what people don't realize about Lakewood Ranch, if you look at the map, not every single road goes down. So say you're up in the northeast section of Azario or the New Clusa or New Del Webb, and you're trying to cut down. In the past, you've had to cut over to Lorraine so you could get down to University and Fruitville. Bourneside just kind of stops. They're going to break that through all the way down to Fruitville. So there's multiple different sections of Lakewood Ranch now that you're going to be able to come into town instead of having to go all the way over to the interstate or all the way over to 301 or something to cut over. If that makes sense, it's little local information, then I think that's going to be super helpful. They're also going to, parks are going to come with this, green space, the trail system. They're supposed to weave all of this stuff into play. But regardless if you had this new expansion or not, this is needed, and I think that's going to be really interesting. Hey guys, I wanted to hop in and interrupt the video for just a second to mention a couple free resources that could be really helpful on the back of this video. One is a Sarasota, Florida relocation guide. It's a flip book. You can also download a PDF, print it out if you'd like to as well. And this lets you go one step further. So we have new construction specific favorite neighborhood lists, place to eat, place to stay when you come in town, day trip ability, and any other insider information that I think would be relevant across Sarasota and Manatee counties. I'll put the URL right here. So you can take a picture of it, you can write it down, check it out later. Also, if you can find the description box, which is getting harder to find below, you can click it directly and I'll reference 2025 Sarasota Relo Guide. Another thing that occurred to me is if you're in between, right? Say maybe you're already on our 30-day email list, you've already downloaded one of the guides and it's not quite like customized to you enough, shoot me an email, info@adamhancockgroup.com, reference this video, this conversation, something of the sort, and say, you did a video on this, I like this one piece of it, can you tell me what else I can know? Can you put me on a list where I can find out things first? Can you tell me, I like this community. What are the other 3 I should be looking at just to make sure that I have no regrets? So email that, put it in the subject line, the email below. You can also call, text, whatever, if that would be easier for you. Contact form on the website, anywhere in between. I think that might be useful as well. Without further ado, let's hop back in. All right, next up, let's move over to Western Bradenton and talk about a community called SeaFlower, which I think is a real potential sleeper going into early 2025. So basically what you have is a concept that's 1,175 plus acre defunct flower farm. It was called Lake Flores, been rebranded into SeaFlower, and it's going to be nothing less than a full-on coastal village that adds a really unique layer to the Sarasota Manatee conversation, which I'll explain in a second. But this is what they're talking. 4,000 plus planned homes, single families, townhomes, condos, apartments, and the like. Think waterside. 350,000 plus square feet of commercial space separated in these little like boutiques, restaurants, shops, all these kind of areas, grocery stores, everything you need, mixed use space. 250 room hotel. Pulte Homes is announced being in here. Cardell, David Weekley, MI, Issa Homes, doing a lot of what you've experienced all over town. There's a ton of fantastic examples for it. First phase alone that they're already working on, 1,700 plus homes, 600 apartments. We think there could be, I think realistically, the first people move in towards the end of 2025, but they're saying summer's not outside the cards because they've already scraped the ground and they're going to do an inventory spec thing before they sell. I think sales could probably come maybe May, June, and I could see people moving in at the end of the year. But the big kicker here about SeaFlower to me, from a lifelong Sarasota, Florida resident, is that it changes the way people think of Western Bradenton. It's the coastal Bradenton is not the same as the Bradenton people think of when they talk Lakewood Ranch. This is not suburban. It's a little choppy, for lack of better words, as far as like home value versus the neighbor. So a lot of the new construction efforts they've made, Aqua included, around IMG Academy, all that kind of stuff, these niche boutique luxury developments have been that when I bring people over there, it's just their $1 million home, $1.5 million home across the street from what already existed. It's just tough for people to understand the texture of the area. What they're going to do here is drop in, for good and bad, a full-on insulated place that almost has walls in some semblance. They're going to have everything you need. It's going to be all new construction. You've seen what they've done with 4,000 plus homes elsewhere, right? So it's going to feel like multiple little layers of neighborhoods. So all of the potential negatives that came with this quite amazing geography on a map, I think are going to be deterred, and it's going to unlock what this place has always had going for it, which is it's Sarasota Bay adjacent. It's a stone's throw from Anna Maria Island, Holmes Beach, Bradenton Beach. You can enter the top of Longboat Key and work your way down. It's always had that going for it. It's the home thing that ruined it for people because it's not turnkey. And I think that's going to be a really interesting layer. So basically the general lifestyle within SeaFlower to me day to day is going to be a mix of old Florida charm balanced with modern conveniences or walkability. This is what everybody wants. Most people are moving to at least southwest Gulf Coast of the state, especially the Sarasota area. They're trying to get closer to the water, or at least around the water, more than they are now. And it's just the housing thing that's the issue, like I mentioned. So if you add suburban inclusivity, safety, and everything that you would generally need with a house that you'd also purchase, and a logistics that you can manage, especially with new construction, being remote, trying to juxtapose selling your own house and all that kind of thing, then it's a really interesting mousetrap that's going to come with some affordability because of the historical view of Western Bradenton. So with all of that being said, I'll end that there. If this would be one especially that I mentioned when I did a SeaFlower video a little while back, if I can provide you any information, the first phase they're planning on, that 1,175 acres, 400 if it's in the first phase, over 1,000 homes, 600 apartment units, which are probably going to be for rental, 120 hotel rooms, 140,000 square feet of office space. So it's going to be pretty dangerous in the early phases. I think there's a big equity and appreciation opportunity in early phases. This is going to be one that people are going to be nervous, like early Wellen Park, to find out what it's going to be until they know what it's going to be. Once people know what it's going to be, it's not as good of a value, of course, like any of these kind of investment things go. So if I can help you in any way with this kind of information, we're then tracking people on a VIP list of sorts, whether you're trying to time an apartment close by and let your lease run out like people did at Waterside or in the Aqua area and time it for the first move-ins here. You need to be on the VIP list. You need to be on the pre-sales list. You need to see what incentives would be offered if you went early. Please email directly. Reference this video, some reminder that I can reference to know what you're trying to do. And please ask me what you want from us and what we can provide you, and we'd love to do so. Okay, community number 3 of 7, and we're talking about a real peacock of sorts here, and it's called Webb Explore. So I'm sure a lot of you watching this video have heard of the Webb brand, which up until right now has been exclusively 55 and up, age-restricted lifestyle communities put out by the Pulte Homes parent company. Kind of a mouthful there. First time ever that Del Webb is going to expand to be a non-age restricted resort style thing. So I'm going to tell you where it's based real quick, and then I want to tell you why I think it's interesting before we talk about what's in here. So this is going to be put inside North River Ranch, which is already an existing master plan multi-layered community that is headed up by Neil. This is going to be based in Parrish. If you're not super familiar with Parrish, it's basically like northeastern Lakewood Ranch. So Lakewood Ranch is a massive suburb, which we just spoke about earlier in the video, that's 9 to 20 miles one way, depending on where you're at, from downtown Sarasota and the coast. Parrish is a little further. It's a little bit north and curves a little west at the same time. So basically, if you like a lot about what's at Lakewood Ranch, it's usually a little cheaper, more accessible. Median cost is 150 to 200 grand in the same house in Parrish versus Lakewood because of the locational sacrifice. That's the gist. What they're doing basically is they're going after Gen X. So I actually had to look it up because it seemed like odd to me about the age range to remind myself. But Gen X technically is considered 45 to 60, which I'm sure everybody watching this video is aware of that. But think about how many people these brands are missing by the 48-year-old, the 52-year-old, the 53-year-old with a younger spouse, like any of that kind of stuff. And I get there's ways to get into these communities if it's not exactly like everybody in the household is above 55 or something like that. But the appeal to people, when I go around, a lot of people choose Del Webb because of the resort thing, because of the turnkey thing. There's a portion it's some semblance of a guarantee that most people in your neighborhood, it's not really to get rid of kids. It's that most people in your neighborhood are like-minded and similar demographics because everybody's moving to Florida and you don't really know that many people except for your spouse and maybe a couple family members. So in order to meet people, it's a lot easier if they're into the same things, you're in a similar life stage. That's most of the reason people are moving to Del Webb. It's the amenities, it's the restaurant, and these crazy things, if you don't play golf especially, that you get in this community that not everyone has, and then that like-minded thing. That's the same exact case for the people that fall just outside of that range, and that also don't want 100% of the people in their community, or the majority, to be above 55. They'd rather the multi-generational thing, especially if you're in Parrish or Lakewood. And so I think by allowing what everybody loves about Del Webb, using the brand recognition, but going after a non-age restricted, it's going to hit what Esplanade Azario hits. The Esplanade brand by Taylor Morrison. We'll see how this shakes out, but I think people will find a lot of appeal in it because Del Webb's had a lot of success with Del Webb Lakewood Ranch. They have Del Webb Catalina now, Del Webb Bayview, there's Sun Chase, so they have a lot going on there. All right, manifesto over. Amenities here, like always with Del Webb, is going to go ham. There's supposed to be a lazy river in here. They're doing a lot of that stuff in the Parrish, Southern Wamama, Ruskin, Sun City centers of the world because of the land and the infrastructure. Indoor, outdoor bar and grill. The restaurant service is what a lot of communities break at the amenity level. Pickleball courts, of course. Golf simulator, fitness center, trails, dog park. If you want reference, look up Del Webb Catalina, which is one of the sexiest offers by this brand right now in Lakewood Ranch. Has a lot more information out on the internet. You can see floor plans, and you can see a lot of stuff that's going to come to fruition here. Mostly single stories, 1,500 to 4,000 square feet. What else? These are going to start at probably in the 4s, get to the 8s plus base price alone. It'll be very similar to what you already have on the internet. Other communities, they are getting going. I think sales will kick off probably early 2026. Hopefully before that. First move-ins maybe late 2026, depending on build times and inventory, quick move-in based stuff. And this is another one that I think if you'd like to stay in the know, maybe about all 55 and ups, brands, including resort style that's not age restricted or just Del Webb alone or anything like that, quick email, reference what you saw, what you want to see, and we can keep you ear to the ground. All right, number 4 on my list is another really great addition to the southern Sarasota area, and that is called Esplanade at Wellen Park. This one's been a long time coming. I think I spoke about it on video maybe 2+ years ago when I found some permits online about it, but now we know a lot more information. So Esplanade, Taylor Morrison as the developer. It's their resort style living brand. It's struck an amazing balance. Think everything you'd get with like kind of the age restricted Del Webbs of the world, but without that 55 and up moniker. So it's open to everybody, but it's really oriented in that way. They do an amazing job with the way they develop the landscaping and the plat of the whole land and floor plans. I think especially they're a builder that as they cascade from the different floor plans that sit on the different square footages on top of the different lot orientations, they all kind of work. And not every builder does 2,000 square feet as good as 3,000 without it being boxy and price strong, stuff like that. So that's what I've liked about them in the past, and I have shades of gray to all that kind of stuff. There's an old school golf course down in the northern Englewood area, very southern Wellen Park, which we'll get into in a second, called Myakka Pines. They're basically have an 877 home plan. And I think John Cannon's playing heavily in this area as well. Around this course that's not owned by the developers. This is not a deeded in kind of thing. But the aim here would be, and what they're thinking is going to happen, is that they will have an arrangement where it's facilitated, where there's easy access, maybe like the Meadows in Sarasota or something like that. So these people should have the option to golf. I don't know at what cost, at what scale, updates to the course, all that kind of stuff, but having this kind of activity around a golf course, especially from a builder that has built beautiful golf courses individually, should help with a kind of an old, burnt out type of golf community historically, in my opinion. So you have that. They're going to go, so a couple things. One, it sits right below what we know as Wellen Park. So you have, and if you're a golfer, you want resort style. This one I think is going to go gangbusters, because before you have a bunch of, you have Lennar Golf, you have Sarasota National, you have Wellen Park Golf and Country Club, and the same what they've done in Lakewood National and Calusa up in Lakewood Ranch. But beautiful golf course, and either one or two depending on the community. Beautiful amenities, no doubt. But you have one of the world's biggest production-based builders. So you have a lot of a demographic that wants like maybe a higher end home, or at least make custom options to it in a community that's built on economies of scale housing. Not like garbage, it's spec. So then you have people that move in and they're like, okay, that's fine. I want to have access to this stuff and I want deeded in golf. And then they'll have to really have completely gut the house and stuff like that. So I know the community matching the house type and variety was an issue there. And then, so you got that, right? And then you have Brightmoor, which is age restricted, and they have resort style amenities, but it is all Mattamy, so that you could see how square peg round hole a lot of times. And there wasn't a lot of variety if you want to golf and you don't want to live in Lakewood Ranch or buy a resale in Sarasota. This will add an element where you can potentially do a custom home, a Taylor Morrison home, and drop that in a coastal town with a more modest master plan community like a Wellen Park. So you got that. We'll see how that all shakes out, and reach out to me, and we can try to keep you in the know as early and often as possible as I find out what's going to happen with the ability to get access to the golf course. But what they're going to do in here, similar to what they did in the original Esplanade and Lakewood Ranch, is they're going to have their condo product, which they did not put in Azario. They're going to have their villa product, which they have actually an underrated villa from an investment standpoint to me. And they have a single family collection, and they're going to go up to about 3,000 square feet. What that would tell me is that they're potentially going to have not the Beacon and the Lincoln collection, which sits on larger lots a lot of times and sits on their bigger square footages. They're going to have the 2,200-ish, 21 to 2,350-ish, kind of 52-foot wide product, which set like the Lazio, the Farnese. These are really well appointed, 3-bedroom, 2.5, plus a large den. Pool sits nice, underratedly large feeling when you move in. And if you're an empty nester, doesn't need 4,000 square feet, doesn't need 5 bedrooms, then this could be interesting. You want to go that model's father or mother, which is the Palazzo, then 62-foot square lot, width lot, 2,900 to 3,100 square feet. Do the bay windows. You could potentially get a 3-car garage here, whether it's tandem or not. And these are going to feel much wider. So if you want a pool and you want it to feel way more open, you want the kitchen and the living room to be like this, not stacked on top of each other. You just want a bigger feel that 700 square feet would give you. Then Palazzo is one of the most popular flagship floor plans I've ever seen for the price in the Sarasota Manatee district. So they're going to do all of that in there. You have access to Wellen Park. Wellen Park, really interesting. They just built a downtown. You have about 9,500 residents at full build out. They think there'll be more than 50,000 people and 22,500 homes in Wellen Park. You might have 10, 15 years left to go in here. The entire thing's 18 minutes from 4 different beaches. You have Venice, Casperson, Brohard, Minnesota Key, and Englewood, because this one kind of dips down, so you get access to both. Take all of that, 45 minutes, you're in downtown Sarasota. Siesta Key, which is below that. You have Lido above it. Wellen Park's Lakewood Ranch is 45 minutes as well. And it gives you a different option and a juxtaposition versus Lakewood Ranch, which has been the big player, dominant. It's more, looks like Pleasantville more than this. So this gives you a coastal version to me, a little bit more laid back as well. In summary, 877 homes surrounds Myakka Pines Golf Club. They're supposed to do the Bahama Bar here, which is the swim up bar food service at the pool. which not every community has. Tennis, pickleball, fitness center, walking trails. Your price range base-wise, condominiums, I think you could be in the threes there. I think there are high ones and twos, but I don't know if that's going to exist anymore in 2025. I think late 25, early 26 will be first move-ins. And anything else I can help you with, reach out. Okay, community number 5. We'll move a little quicker for the balance of the video here. You might not have seen this one. Been some press releases about it. It's relatively new, but it's called Oakbend at Wellen Park. So we're going to stay in that Venice, Englewood, Western Northport kind of community. So this is a Toll Brothers boutique community, 181-ish plan homes. Toll Brothers is a builder, so they've built, for reference, the Isles and Lakewood Ranch. They're doing a new one called Monterey, which is really interesting, and very southeastern Lakewood Ranch, which kind of looks like this is on a map and everything else over here. Solstice, they did a little pared down product of Solstice in Wellen Park in the same area. And they were in Venice Woodlands and North Venice above that. So some references for you, but the Isles, a lot of people really liked. I bought a home in the Isles and built with Toll. I view them as one of the highest end builders that you could do that is not custom. You're probably looking at 2,100 to 3,000 plus square feet here. A lot of times they go from like this to an elite product, so they add a lot of size, 3 to 5 bedrooms. Base prices 600-700 plus, I would say, and then you're adding 15-20% non-pool on top with structural and design upgrades, and then maybe 30% if you're going to do a pool, maybe more. It appears to be private pool, fitness center, pickleball, clubhouse, and then there's trails that get you to downtown. And that's a big thing about this district. There's not a lot of walkability in Florida other than a few places, and this Playmore district, this newer part of Wellen, adds a lot of element of you don't really need to leave for a ton, and if you do, beaches right there. Yeah, it's interesting. Toll never really goes crazy with amenities in the communities they've done around here. They're pretty normal, and so people it bothers some people because the homes are so high end that some want restaurants and stuff like that. But I do think in where Wellen is currently, I think they're doing a great job. At a couple of years ago, you were just like, beggars can't be choosers. You got in early, but it was weird the way they did all these options. It felt like a bunch of options, but it really wasn't when you got into it. You didn't have 2 or 3 in your criteria that worked. And then you're like, is it out? And then Lakewood Ranch is easier. Maybe I'll just do that. Now they're adding in like luxury. They're adding in mixed builders with a bunch of options in the same community. Many more communities in 2025 have amenities where they almost went out with 0 at the beginning. They were really going with Wisteria and Avelina and some of these, like there were really no frills. They've changed their tune on that. So Oakbend at Wellen Park is number 5. Okay, number 6, we are going to hop actually all the way back up above Northeast Sarasota to Palmetto, Florida, which you might not be incredibly familiar with, but we're talking about the inland section of it, and talk about a community called Costerra. So Costerra is basically a master plan within a master plan that's really headed up by Taylor Morrison. They've done things like a couple times that are similar, and this is going to add some affordability because of the region. It's right off of Buckeye Road, easy exit I-75. So whether you want to shoot up to Tampa Bay in 45 minutes, shoot down to Lakewood Ranch, shoot down to Sarasota, it gives you the more affordable version of what Lakewood Ranch does in some semblances, and allows them to do a little bit more with amenities, etc. But take Sky Ranch in Central Sarasota, for example. Taylor Morrison goes in there. They build Sky Ranch as the area, the thing. They have Casilla at Sky Ranch. So that's like the main one, but it's got a lot of family-friendly models. Not everything costs $1.5 million. And if they do cost $800,000, a lot of times they're a 52-foot product that has 4,000 square feet because it's on 2 stories, which has en-suites and bedrooms. It just appealed more family-friendly. They launch an Esplanade in there, which is their resort style brand we just spoke about. So then that gives you like an eventual Bahama bar. It gives you a pool of your own in addition to the Casilla shared pool. And it gives floor plans that orient villas and small single family 1-story models that just sit in that 55 and up range without saying it. Then they launched a townhome one for investors, first-time buyers, empty nesters, and the like. Here in Costerra, similar. Whole area is called Costerra. They launched the Cove and the Palms, giving some price points starting in the 3s, creeping the 4, 5, 6s. They're going to put an Esplanade product in here as well. And the same with Lakewood Ranch, they did Esplanade at Azario. They did Park East at Azario. So that's the name of the game here. The Northeastern Parish Palmetto conversation is affordability first, unless you just want to be rural. New construction access with affordability. So this one, I think, because it's situated on the interstate line there, it is interesting. There's going to be some nice modern designs, resort style amenities, and you should have access here within the next 12 months or before. to do something meaningful. All right, and the seventh and final one, I'm going to do a smattering platter of the new / pre-construction condominium world right now in Sarasota. I think it's really interesting. They do cool things with the height restrictions, so it doesn't quite get what St. Pete's getting or Miami's getting with the mini Manhattan skylines, but they're doing a lot at one time right now. It's difficult information to find a lot of the times. And it brings a lot of cool things like ground floor retail with high-end restaurants and things like that. And it only exists in so many places. So I just want to do like a real speed round of giving you some certain thoughts. So we saw the residences at St. Regis. So we have a lot of like hotel branded buildings. The residences at St. Regis on Longboat Key in the resort area, I believe that one sold out. It was way up on the key, but lovely overall. And that it is a place that you can stay at when you visit. Comes with a pretty penny, but lovely location. The Ritz-Carlton Residences, Sarasota Bay. So I was speaking with someone yesterday. I believe 31 of the 78, which it might not be 78 anymore because I think there was a penthouse or two combined, but 40% sold out. That is in the Quay district. The cool thing about condominiums is the density of which they only sit in so many locations. So you're either like downtown, or downtown adjacent in Sarasota, or you're on the Barrier Islands, and a lot of that stuff is old because it was already there. But they have a new district called the Quay, 14-acre bayfront at the foot of the Lido Key Ben Franklin Bridge, and then behind you is downtown, less than a mile away, and a lot of condominiums shoved in there. So you had the Bayso that came out with Coulter. There was already a Ritz-Carlton residence there before that has like Jack Dusty, that high-end restaurant at the bottom of it. They also put another Ritz-Carlton residence of Sarasota Bay. It's called in front of the Bayso and this one. So it has the straight water views. You can see out to the beaches in St. Armand Circle, and then you're right on the water. So there's going to be some access there. And you have the balance of everything beyond the 31 still available. So that's high end, but you have all the Ritz-Carlton amenities as well. One Park is also in the same district with the Quay. They've gone in and out of some development potential like issues with city approvals and these kind of things, but 18-story, which is about the cap of height in Sarasota for the most part. You're supposed to have about 123 luxury units in there, and it's going to be a very lovely building. It's really high end. It's by PMG Group based out of Miami. I'm in partnership with some of the Sarasota stuff, adjacent to the bay, not right on it, but adjacent to it. Rosewood Residences in Lido Key. This was really boutique. It's right by the Ritz-Carlton in downtown Sarasota has a beach club. If you ever stay there, that's a really cool thing to do if you come in town. If you have a hotel room at the Ritz and you get access to that Lido Beach Club, which gives you like food service at the pool, gives you a little bit of a part where not a lot of people walk to because there's no reason to. There's a tiki bar that's outside of that as well. The Rosewood sits right next to that area. So it's cool because you have this full-on beachfront on Lido Key, which would be my preference. It's 3.6 miles from downtown. Get access to Longboat. Siesta Key's 6 miles away. Lovely location. And even though you can't keep people from walking on a beach in front of your place, there's not a lot of reasons of local residents to walk that way unless they have someone like me recording a video or something when I didn't know where to go. So high-end Rosewood branded 65 units. You're 6.5 to 15 million, most likely when it's all said and done here. Obsidian, one of the newest ones is Obsidian. So this is a Peacock, 14 total units. It's on Palm too. Palm is maybe my favorite street in Sarasota. Palm and State are my favorite two streets downtown. But Palm just looks like a throwback. It's a fish out of water in that area. It's very lovely, historic kind of looking. It's very close to the water. It's like basically the last street before you can get out to the water, to Marina Jack there. But they put a really high end and one of the tallest buildings that exists in Sarasota in that area. And I think they had a lot of pushback with that, but what a great location. And walkability, can't beat it right there because you need Maine and lemon and orange. You got everything in downtown. So that one's awesome. One of the things I like the most about it is this was the same group that did the collection. And for something about these buildings, I just love the way they do them. The collection I think had 11 units. And so you got 14 in this one, which gives you like a portion of the building are full floor units. They have huge terraces and they go really high end, way more customizable. The guy named, I think Jonathan Abrams, maybe Michael Saunders still, a great guy. He's the one that represents the sales center. So we've worked a lot like with them one-on-one. It's a great experience. They're very unique buildings, but this is going to be a unique buyer too. $4 million for the lower floors. They have full floor penthouses that are higher. I think the collection went like unit 5 or 6, and then the rest were full floor units up on the floors. So cool. One of the newest coolest thing is it's called Astor and Links. This is a downtown Sarasota thing. So it's a mixed-use residential project. There was 2 apartment towers as a part of it. So this one, right on Main Street, you got downtown walkability, bunch of rental units, penthouses in addition to it. But this is going to add they added a Sprouts down there and added some other retail that didn't exist before. One of the most exciting by far is the Hyatt redevelopment project. So in that same Quay district, there's a hotel called Hyatt Regency, which I've stayed at a couple times. It's the one that has this full canal kind of like strip in front of it. Unbelievable location. You have the Twin Towers in front of it, Ritz-Carlton behind it, Wellen Park behind it, this old school historical building in the middle of it that's still there. They're going to do, this is proposed, mixed-use development to replace the Hyatt Regency. This is another Coulter project. So Coulter did the Ritz, did the Beso, did the one in St. Pete. They have a clear history of accomplishing these things. It's supposed to be 117 luxury condominium units in the West Tower. Then they're adding a Hyatt-centric Harborside hotel. So it's the combination of both. We've seen them do that in the past. 220 plus rooms in an East Tower. 18 to 20 stories each, which will stay in that height restriction that's outside of Golden Gate Point. 117 condos ranging from 1,200 to 3,000 plus square feet, most likely. 1 to 3 bedrooms, 12-foot ceilings, the whole like. Prices in here could start below 1.5. So we saw what happened with the Beso and stuff. If you get in early, I think there's some immediate equity, potentially not even moving in. And then you're going to get the hotel amenities. So rooftop pool and bar, shared services, private amenity floors for residents. You're going to all kinds of stuff that comes with that. So that's one of the most exciting to me right now. Again, the Quay is really the marker for looking at a lot of this stuff and the other real big developments going in Golden Gate Point, which is just down the street. But you have a 10-story limit there, but really unique view and spot of the Sarasota skyline. So that'll wrap up number 7. All right, my friends, that is a wrap for today's edition of the Florida Relocation Guide, your smartest way to buy, sell, and/or invest across all of Southwest Florida. I was your host, Adam Hancock. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider subscribing to this channel. My goal is to release hopefully 100% of the Sundays and Wednesdays for the remaining balance of 2025, which should give us a lot of opportunities to have some amazing content and try to add as much value as possible across Sarasota, Tampa / Naples, and subscribing just the best way to see what's coming next. Beyond that, a couple of housekeeping items. If you haven't already signed up for our 30-day email list, you're not on that, you haven't been receiving that, please reach out. We have a link in the description box below. You can email any of the contact information, anything like that. We'll make sure you're on it, and we'll try to send you the last one as well. The last day of every single month, it's the only email I handwrite. We only send one, no spam, bite-sized information, real consumable stuff, more real-time stuff that's on a 30-day loop. That's hard to do in evergreen videos like this overall. I think that's a really nice asset if you like these videos at all. We also have a 2025 Sarasota, Florida relocation guide that we recently released, or updated rather. It's a flip book. You can download a PDF as well. It's a real locals list, favorite neighborhoods, things to do, places to eat, places to stay when you come in town for a visit, distances to other attractive cities if you reside in Sarasota as a homestead. So I think that's a cool one. Another quick link in the description box as well. And if I can assist you in any way in the real estate market, whether you're ready now, you're ready 2 years from now, we're not exclusive to relocation and new construction. Full service real estate brokerage, buying, selling, and/or investing. But we have a really interesting model of this information economics first thing, and our entire brokerage, entire team is based on the back of that. So I think it's a unique offering in a world of commoditized real estate offerings. So we're trying to add as much value as possible, especially if you are trying to relocate, where it can be not only stressful, but there can be a lot better ways to do it than not. And we have a lot of history and leverage when it comes to that world. If I can assist you at all, call, text, email, contact form on the website, anything that you want to do. You can reference videos, ask questions based on that. So anything like that, I would love to if I could. And if you don't do any of that, I appreciate you guys even taking a few minutes of your precious time to consume my content. We'll see you on the next one.